I have finished the entirety of the Stormlight Archive. So I want to talk to you about what I think this story is really about without any spoilers. Because this story, for all of its epic scope, the storms and the shards, the battles, what stayed with me was not the grandeur of this series. It was the insistence, the proof over and over again that there's no shortcut to the long, slow, but rewarding path of healing. That the work of becoming whole again is slow, difficult, and may seem impossibly painful, but it is also always possible. And even more than all of that, it is worth it. This is not a series about saving the world. It's about finding the courage to live in it. And before any healing can occur at all, there has to be a moment, even a brief one, just a flicker, where you become convinced that life itself is worth living. This, to me, is the soul of the Stormlight Archive, a testament to the beauty and power of resilience. Because your story is not what has happened to you. Your story is the courage to rise again. So let's talk about the Way of Kings first. The Way of Kings really is a story about the first step towards hope. Every journey towards healing begins somewhere, and for a lot of people, that somewhere is darkness. The Way of Kings feels like standing at the bottom of a pit so deep, so dark, so impenetrable that you are not even sure that light exists at all anymore. But it is also about the first steps towards believing that hope might be possible in the future. It's about choosing to believe that you may feel hope again one day, even if you don't right now. Not certainty, not even faith. Just the decision to try again one more time. In that sense, this first book of the series is one about endurance. The kind of endurance that may not be loud or heroic, but quiet and exhausted, holding on by the skin of its teeth. The choice to breathe when it would be easier not to. Before any healing can take root, life itself must be claimed as something valuable. That moment when you decide that your life is worth living again is the start of anything. It's the beginning of your new life. Sanderson doesn't tell us that hope is easy. He tells us that it is something that we can earn. And the first act of resilience is not victory. It is the refusal to surrender. It's just the smallest whisper that says, I'm still here. I'm still going. You haven't beat me yet. And now the second book in this first Stormlight arc. If the Way of Kings is about learning to stand up again, to just take that first step, Words of Radiance is about looking in the mirror once you've done that. Healing demands honesty, and honesty, especially the kind that faces your own pain, can feel like breaking all over again. This part of the journey asks us to say what has hurt us, to give word to the things that we would rather keep buried, that we would rather not have to explain to people. Because resilience is not about denial. It's the courage to see yourself clearly, to see other people clearly, even when you wish that you couldn't. The truth is that we all carry shadows we would rather ignore. We have all had things happen to us that we wish we could forget. But every time you name it, every time you stand up and say with your full chest what has happened, you take away some of that power. Every time you speak your truth aloud, you remind yourself and everyone else that you're not the only one who's had this happen. You're not just the one that something happened to. You are also the one who survived it. This, to me, is what Words of Radiance is about. To rise again, you must face the truth of what has broken you. And only then can you begin to truly rebuild. And now, Oathbringer. There's a single theme that runs through this series. It is the question of how to carry the past. Oathbringer is where that question becomes unavoidable. How do we live with the things that we have done? In a lot of fantasy stories, redemption is very clean and it may be a one-time act. But in the Stormlight Archive, it's not. Redemption is heavy in this series. It does not erase what has happened. It teaches you how to hold it differently. It teaches you that you must become different than who you were before. True resilience is not pretending that the past never existed. It is acknowledging its weight and then choosing to integrate it, to carry it with grace instead of sharpness or denial. And forgiveness is a key part of this transformation, not as some false absolution or cheap grace, but as an act of courage. To forgive, whether yourself or others, is to say, I will no longer let what broke me define the boundaries and the shape of my life. In Oathbringer, the storm does not lessen, but it does shift something inside of you. You realize that you can keep walking even through the worst of it. So now we come to Rhythm of War, my favorite book in the Stormlight Archive. And this book really is about the cost of healing, because healing is not a single act. It is a rhythm: break, rebuild, reset, and try again. And by the time we reach Rhythm of War, we begin to understand that the work of becoming whole again is cyclical. It doesn't end with a single revelation. It is lived day by day and choice by choice. There is a quiet strength in this book that comes from acknowledging that recovery costs something. Healing takes energy, and sometimes the bravest thing, the most important thing you can do, is to take a break and rest. Because rest is a form of resilience. We live in a world that glorifies the always forward motion, but healing asks you to be gentle and to accept that full integration of the work you have done might require you to slow down. That progress may look like just standing still for a while. This part of the journey is about patience, understanding that the process, the journey, is as sacred as the outcome, and that even in the stillness you are growing roots that will allow you to flourish. So by the time we've arrived at this last book, Wind and Truth, we've learned that healing is not about perfection. It is about persistence. There's no law, no system, no promise that can save you. Only forgiveness and redemption, chosen freely, offered freely, allow you to integrate your past and your present and your future. This is the next step, understanding that wholeness is not purity, it is harmony. There's something very sacred about the way this final movement expands. Because by now, what you've seen is it is not just about you. There is a sense that the courage you show, the choices you make will ripple outward, that the goodness you have built does not vanish with you. There is a generational hope that is threaded throughout this entire book. The hope that the fruit of your decisions may not be harvested in your lifetime, but that there will be rewards in the lives of your children and of your children's children. And this is the deepest promise of all, that life will endure, that it will grow, that it will reap rewards that you have not yet even begun to imagine. So here at the end, what is the Stormlight Archive really about? It is about the long, slow work of healing, about how life itself must first be seen as worth living, about how there's no magic key that's going to make the pain vanish, only the daily human act of choosing to rise again. It is about the courage to keep walking in the storm, even when you don't know what comes next. Because resilience is never about the absence of pain, it is the insistence that pain will not have the final word. There is so much hope in this series. Hope that your choices matter even when you're gone. Hope that every act of courage, every quiet decision to keep living, creates a light that someone else may one day see. The Stormlight Archive is well worth reading, because it's not just a story that you read, battles that you fight, characters that you learn to love. It is a story that expands you. Your story is not what has happened to you. It is the courage to rise again. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love it if you could subscribe and share, and I would love to know your thoughts about the Stormlight Archive.